Let it burn. Let it burn to the fucking ground. What am I talking about? The stock market, of course. And you might be asking yourself, Andrew, I thought you were a free market capitalist. And I am. And as a free market capitalist, when I look at the systems that have been constructed that are artificially inflating values and extracting wealth from the working class, I don't want to see that continue, especially when it's not happening in a free manner, when the government can step in and intervene and help corporations while hurting individuals. That's not a free market. And the illusion of these stock market gains that people think they have, it needs to be shattered, unfortunately. We have a plethora of bubbles, financial market bubbles, that I want to say are about to burst, but that in actuality, they need to burst. Whether or not they actually do, that's a question. And that's what the current corrupt paradigm, and you know what, I will say Donald Trump is complicit in perpetuating this as well. Although I probably am going to vote for him. He is a relic of the old age. We could call it maybe modernity, or we could call it the first American illusion or something like that. You know, the American dream may have existed for a few decades, but it never really existed. We have been consistently dealing with a ruling class that has been finding ways to extract wealth from the working class. They've been doing it for decades and centuries. It's just changed shape over the years. But we're now at a point where there is very little wealth to extract. We're seeing the systems about to implode. So the stock market, it's artificially inflated, the value there. These companies are not worth what they think they are, and they've extracted almost as much wealth as they possibly can. We're due for a major market correction. We have, I think credit card debt is the highest it's like ever been. So that's one bubble. Student loan debt. I don't we're just gonna, that's another bubble. I don't know what the mortgage situation is. I think that one hasn't quite expanded to its fullest yet, but I think we're also going to soon have a mortgage issue, outside of the fact that the average American can't even afford a mortgage. The people who currently have mortgages, I don't know if they're defaulting or not yet, but I imagine they might be. But I think the bigger problem is just the fact that the average American cannot afford a mortgage. But that is by design. That is on purpose. That is so these major hedge funds and asset management companies can buy up all of the units and then create a permanent renter class. That is called fascism, when the corporations and the government work together to create a very corrupt marketplace. So we need this crash to happen. If we want any sort of actual legitimate economic recovery, we need to let the death and rebirth cycle happen. The cycle of death and rebirth is a universal cycle. It happens everywhere in the universe. It is one of the very few things I will say that is a universal law. The cycle of death and rebirth, the concept of polarity, maybe a few other things, but we won't go too far into it. Let's get back into the whole financial markets thing. We are going through like just historical event after historical event. And while the market does I hope it does crash, I don't want people to truly suffer, but I also, I don't want the working class people to suffer. I do want maybe rich, corrupt, evil people to lose a lot of their assets that they have unethically obtained. But to me, that's not suffering so much as sort of a karmic rebalancing. And I'm not even going to name any specific person because I could be wrong, you know, like I might think somebody was evil, but maybe they're not. And also the level of complicity that people have. I think maybe a lot of people don't understand how complicit they are in perpetuating these problems. That's a big issue that is coming to the surface now. More and more people are waking up, and in waking up, they're realizing, oh crap, I was part of the problem. How can I divest from my complicity? And so it's going to be tough for a while, but when in reality, the working class is already struggling, they know how to struggle. This crash is going to be hardest for the people who don't know how to struggle, and who maybe have this massive ego that thinks they deserve to be better than everyone else. They're gonna fight, and that's what we're seeing. I mentioned in another video, like this death gasp, as it's been called, of the evil establishment just grasping to maintain the last little bit of control that they have. And so, well, if you see this and you have a 401k that, you know, might lose some value, I'm really sorry that the system you've been a part of has been broken. But there is going to be a way out. It's going to be through community, and it's going to be through work. And I know people are like, just people don't want to work anymore. And it blows my mind. I'm not saying young people, I'm not saying old people. It's just, you tell someone, you know, hey, we need to do better for our community, and that means we need to exert a little effort. And they're like, oh my God, like I have to put a little effort into my community? Oh my gosh, you guys, quit being babies. They've successfully divided us to the point where effort and collaboration with others within our community seems like a chore instead of a blessing. How cool is it to think that there are other humans that you can interact with and collaborate with to build something beautiful and better, to create synergy with? And so, yes, the stock market needs to crash. And I'm sorry that might bug you, but you should maybe look at how this perceived system has been built and developed, and maybe look for alternative ways to invest your money, maybe back into your community instead of these massive evil corporations. Because when you have a 401k and you're holding shares of like Google and Apple and Tesla, you know, companies who use slave labor, I don't know if Google does, but I think like Tesla and Apple via children mining in Africa for lithium, you're contributing to evil. So does it feel good to say, yeah, my shares of Apple are up, but Apple's been exploiting people around the world? iPhones are cool, yes, but can we divest from these major companies while retaining some of the awesome technological advances we've made? I think we can, and that's what I challenge us to do. We can do this, humanity. We can do this. Let the markets crash. Let the reset happen. Let the correction happen. It needs to happen, because we need more American families to be able to afford to buy a home. There is no reason they shouldn't be. There is not a shortage of land. Go to Montana. I swear to God, go to Montana. Is it I-84? I don't remember. There's a freaking, you can drive for hours and see like 3 houses. Maybe an exaggeration, but there's an abundance of land. We have land. We have resources. But we also have a central planning problem in the government and our corporations, creating this fascistic environment that we're having to participate in, whether we want to or not. So let's work to divest. This video is long and rambly. Thank you very much for listening. Much love.